A lot's happened in 3 years. In that time, Queensland Raceway changed hands. New ownership breathing new life into this little bull ring that always seems to create great racing. Now we're back in the Sunshine State with a show that's grown significantly since that last visit, offering the most diverse array of cars and categories, along with the perfect mix of established stars and emerging talent. We return to this passionate heartland to start an exciting second half of the season. With a re-energised GT series, an intense tug-of-war in Trans Am, the premier Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series on a knife edge, and a whole lot more. This is the Speed Series presented by Shannon's, live, ad break free and on demand, only on Stan Sport.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt White alongside Fabian Coulthard. Welcome to Queensland Raceway for round 2 of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS Fabs. A great racetrack that we've got. It's been spruced up, our first time here since 2019. But what a wonderful series this is. Almost $6 million worth of race cars heading out there and some of the biggest names of our sport.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The racing's been great. The track and facilities looking amazing as well. So in for a very exciting day.
You don't want to break anything in these cars, do you? Because it's a costly exercise.
It's going to cost someone a hell of a lot of money. So, the drivers should try and keep it clean as they can and provide some great racing.
We have 3 Bathurst 1000 winners in this field. David Reynolds, of course, Shane Van Gisbergen and Garth Tander, who's partnering up with our pole sitter, Yasser Shaheen. So let's go racing.
We're ready to go racing once again. Pro and Am Formula. The pro is Richard Crail in the driver's seat. I'm Greg Rust with you with the Am cap on, and we are good to go racing, folks. The clock is counting. An hour of competition just under, and away we go. Yasser Shaheen in that Bend Motorsport livery on that Audi will take the lead into turn 1. They bounce with these stiffly sprung cars across and through turn 1. Keep an eye on that 888 Merc.
Really conservative start from Jeffrey Ibrahim, the Prince there in that 888 Race Engineering with Johor Racing AMG GT3. But everyone gets through turn 1 and 2. That's what Matt Stupers was talking about on the start line. He said, I just wanted to slot in behind Yasser, then we're going to run line astern. Liam Talbot not running line astern. The big send around the outside. G-Technic, new sponsor, great new red livery on that Audi R8 that he'll share with his good mate Fraser Ross. Fraser staying with the Talbot Robinson household this weekend, enjoying himself, I'm told. And this is a good battle with Jeffrey Ibrahim on the outside there, and I think Talbot will wrestle that position away. And now Mark Rosser in the Catan car gets the big tank slapper on, and Ibrahim's off the road.
What a fiery start there. I mean, it looked pretty placid in first 2 corners, but it didn't fire up in 3.
Liam Talbot, a feisty start. He is one of the quickest AM drivers in the country. In fact, at the Bathurst 12 hour, he wasn't that far off the pros. He is a very, very fast steerer, and Talbot's got a great run out of turn 5. Perfect place to pull a move is turn 6, and under brakes the Audi from over 200 k's an hour, gets down the inside. Textbook stuff at QR, and Talbot's charged through the field, and he's got himself to second.
So he's out in the dirty stuff at this point here, Prince Jeffrey. Then watch the Audi to the left of your screen. And maybe again just on the dirty part of the track at that stage of the early stage of the race, Michael, not ideal.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't take much in these cars. You pick up a bit of that debris off the track or offline, and that's all just bits of rubber that come off the tyre, and you get that on the tyre, and that just really gives you no grip at all.
So we go back to the front. So Talbot with the fastest lap, but that's then eclipsed by Yasser Shahin, taken back again by Liam Talbot. So they're trading fastest laps, those guys. And the margin is 1.2 seconds at the top. On the wider line for Prince Jeffrey coming into that corner, but if he can hang here, hang tough, he'll be ideally placed in the middle part, won't he?
Absolutely, yeah. Nice little move there. Hanging on the outside. He's done that before. And he holds him up there so he can't get back on the inside for turn 5.
Just enough room for him to put that big AMG GT3 alongside Tony Bates. It's a good move. It was set up through turn 1. He dragged a heap of margin out of Bates through 1, and then through turn 2 he got the good drive. That forced Bates to go defensive on the run down to 3. The move ultimately done all the way around the corner. So that's one of the great things about this place, and has always been at Queensland Raceway since it opened in '99. It's set up to move at 1, but it might not pay off until you get to turn 4 or 5.
Absolutely.
Oh. And the KFC cars got the penalty down there at turn 1. And does he get it out of the gravel?
He got stuck there yesterday in practice, didn't he? Nice recovery.
Michael Caruso's just pointed out the timing monitor. Prince Jeffrey down into the 9s now. And the safety car could change the game for everybody here, because it's going to be called to the racetrack, because the Superbarn Supermarkets Audi of James Konduras is parked to the side of the road. Smoke pouring from the back of the big V10.
Now this is
running to turn 6, Cruz.
This will actually play into the hands of everybody that's spread out in the field. Yep. So all those drivers, it just reduces all these margins. So everything comes back to square one and we start all over again, which I know a lot of the pro drivers will be loving it.
And we're getting word through that with the safety car, race controls actually moved the window to 13:30 local time. So that's 6 minutes from now. I was kind of hoping everyone plays in on the yellow. Cool. That would have been exciting, but it's still going to be pretty tense, and there's going to be some cars sitting in the lane longer than others, and the order will shuffle around.
Yasser Shahin leading the way from Liam Talbot, who looked very racy until our safety car period, and had been able to close that gap to within 4/10. So away we go. Mark Rosser holding down third. And then Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, despite an off in the middle of the circuit a little earlier, has recovered. Good drive to 4th place for him.
Yeah, really good comeback trail. And remember, he's got 15 seconds up his sleeve when they all bail into pit lane for the compulsory pit stop. He will be stationary for 15 seconds less than the leading cars, especially that number 1 Audi, the defending champion Yasser Shahin. Can't stand to jump behind the wheel of that car. So this is the fight for 3rd position. Shahin and Talbot out in front. Behind them, Matt Stupas says spun, he spun at turn 2, and Schumacher takes evasive action, dives out of the way and avoids an accident. Oh, that was hairy.
Hot and spicy coming off turn 2 there for those KFC cars, let me tell you.
Outstanding work. Here it is, just mid-corner, turn 2. How's Brad Schumacher with the save to the inside there? Here it is on board with Tony Bates. That's a very strange little spin, Carus.
Yeah, look, you know, we spoke about keeping those tyres warm under the safety car. They're still not up. Unfortunately, it looks like they've just come out a bit wide, as we see here, a bit of another spin. Down
Ross Polakis, that is, the Harold's Racing Mercedes AMG GT3.
Let's have a look here on the replay. This is the move for 3rd place. So watch Prince Jeffrey. Oh, and Rosser a little loose, and that was all the opportunity he needed.
Nice little move there, but we're seeing a lot of them actually struggle with that tyre temp, the rear tyre temp, particularly in the Audi, so they must run them pretty loose around here.
And all 3 leaders choose the exact same moment to bail into pit lane. The window open now. Compulsory pit stops underway. So from that control line where they engage the 40 km/h speed limit, car 888 has 98 seconds. The race leader has 113 seconds. But it's not stationary time, it's to the control line. So somehow you need to be really good at maths to get that margin from the stop, from pit in and to pit out. And if you're under that, it's a massive, massive penalty and it will end your race. So Tander has gone from first to third at least when the whole pit stop sequence shuffles out.
Watch for Toasted Sandwich Boy here. David Reynolds, he'll be one worth watching. And the safety car very much has worked. The timing of that safety car for the Triple Eight team. So Van Gisbergen will lead them away. Audi Sport Customer Racing, very, very busy.
Here's Gartander on Fraser Ross. And Fraser would be the first to say that he's probably not quite in the same league as the four-time winner of the Bathurst 1000, Tander through. That's second. And when they get to the line, we'll be able to give you an indication of the margin between himself and Shane Van Gisbergen, which, when everyone else stops, will be the battle for the race lead.
Some of the remaining cars that have yet to do that stop. So Matt Stupas, I think, is in the lane at the moment. So
they're not afraid, Michael, of using that exit curve at turn 6, are they? And
No.
kicking up the dust.
gap at the moment is 8.4 seconds. What do we we've got under 25 minutes remaining in this race now. So
Rosser and Team BRM keeping Mark Rosser out. So making the most of that track position here is car 17. So he's got 103 seconds worth of compulsory pit stop time to tick off. So the way this is all playing out right now, there's only 3 cars on the lead lap. Such a short lap here at Queensland Raceway, 70 seconds. When you're in pit lane for 113 seconds, you are going to go down a lap.
we reset. Van Gisbergen takes the race lead.
It's hard, Rusty, to believe, but this is Garth's first race meeting of the year behind the wheel.
I was blown away when he said that.
It seems baffling, but that's the life of a semi-retired race car driver these days, I would imagine.
Aside of his broadcasting, he is super busy with the kids karting.
Yeah.
And I think they're away again this weekend.
Yeah.
Man is with them, and they're loving it.
Young Sebastian going along very nicely, I'm told. Bit of talent in that family,
Very.
with mum and dad both being outstanding racing car drivers in their own right. 5 minutes to go in this one, and Shane Van Gisbergen has just maintained that 10.7 second margin over Garth Tander. Combined again at Bathurst later this year. But what a performance has been with these great pros at the front of the field. So Fraser Ross still in third, Rosser in fourth. Mark Rosser, quite successful in business, took some time out of racing, but he started racing in HQ Holdens at Malala Raceway in South Australia.
You're a long way from home, Toto.
What a great
That's
category
awesome.
to start with.
Awesome.
Yep. So he's running fourth, and Paul Stokel rounding out the top 5 with Brad Schumacher now 6th. In fact, that's a recent change of position. So Stokel has got in front. Oh, and off the road. That is Matt Stupas, having started from the front row of the grid, was just passed by David Reynolds. He's got a long way off the escape road down at turn 3.
It's been exciting to watch, but that late safety car just prior to the opening of the pit window was very, very timely for these guys, for Johor Racing, for the Triple Eight organisation.
Yeah, it really cost Audi, Rusty, that safety car. They were in a pretty good position. If it had stayed green, they were going to be behind, but it would have been a much, much smaller margin than the 10 or so seconds we've seen.
Headed for home in this one, Shane Van Gisbergen and Jeffrey Ibrahim set to take it out.
A great recovery drive from Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim in stint 1, and then the current king of the sport, Shane Van Gisbergen, has brought it home. Mercedes AMG back on top in GT World Challenge Australia to commanding victory, and SVG and Triple Eight on top.
Well done to Mark Rosser, 4th outright as well. And the winner in AM, we take a look at some of the results here for you.
Rosser 4th, Stokel 5th, Schumacher in 6th position at the end, so it was 7th in the end for Reynolds and Bates. After a pretty good comeback, they'll be frustrated with that apparent slow air leak in the tyre. Will be something they go back and look at tonight. Hopefully they can recover, but they start from the front row tomorrow, and it will be David Reynolds starting the race.
about to get things underway, and it is a star-studded lineup up the front of this field.
Tander, Reynolds, Van Gisbergen, three of the better racing car drivers around, lining up, ready for a rolling start. Fraser Ross will enjoy getting his elbows out. He's a Porsche champion in the past, lots of miles in GT cars. Watch for the red Audi. An hour on the clock. We're racing Fanatec GT World Challenge, powered by AWS at Queensland Raceway. And Tander aggressively covers his line into turn one. Van Gisbergen in the big AMG slots in behind Reynolds. Everyone else cleanly through. Feisty start though, as you'd expect. Garth Tander aggressive in holding his race lead. And the big Merc launches off the line. That thing's got so much bottom end torque on a rolling start. You've got to get in front of it to turn one.
Absolutely, it does have a lot of torque. And I'm expecting Shane to push pretty hard here at the beginning of the race, because this is his best chance to keep that gap closed. He knows he's going to have a bit of a penalty when it comes to stop, so he needs to stay as close as he can, if not get by them.
Hand that car over to Prince Jeffrey with hopefully some kind of advantage to nullify the penalty for today, given that race win yesterday. It looked on this opening lap, particularly through turn two, there'd be a bit of a handful as it came through there for Shane. Bit of opposite lock. Tander from Reynolds, Van Gisbergen. That's the view back to the 888 AMG entry.
Oh, Reynolds working the rear already. You'd see those licorice lines coming out the back of it.
That's cool.
Oh, moment here as well.
Scott Taylor.
Speaking of driver coaches, he's got Alex Davison in his corner. And Alex said he did a really good job in qualifying Scott in this car and got what is a 2013 specification Porsche and contact with the Honduras Supermarkets Audi. The 2013 spec car. So it's almost a decade old. Oh, no. We've just been talking about Brad Schumacher. And he and Matt Stupers have got into each other, and they are well buried.
They're not getting out of there in a hurry.
And there's no doubt that will be a safety car. You don't drive out of the gravel traps generally here at Queensland Raceway. Oh, that's a strange one, Michael Caruso.
It looks like he's just missed his braking mark. He got in there really deep, misjudged it, grabbed the back of
Stupes, I think,
car,
wasn't it?
And yeah, unfortunate. Particularly this early in the race. And as the lights get ready to go out, this is really important. In the last couple of laps, who kept their tyres warm, who's going to attack, and particularly in the front three, it'll be interesting to see, because this is a good opportunity now for the likes of Dave and Shane to make their move.
Safety car, leader to maintain 80. Safety car will accelerate away.
It's a word from Motorsport Australia Race Control. This is on board with Reynolds.
And this is an art. This is not as easy as just putting the throttle down. This is an art, lining yourself up, being in the right gear.
I love the fact the team's gone to pit wall to watch it with their own eyes to judge the restart and get on the radio and communicate that go point. Where does Tander go? Just before turn 6 is the answer. So the Ben Motorsport Park Audi R8 leads the way. Tander, Reynolds, Van Gisbergen, Fraser Ross behind. He's weaving to get some tyre temperature in his Pirellis. You hear the car bottoming out over the bumps there at turn 1. The front splitter dragging on the ground. Like Mark Rosser under pressure from Peter Hackett in the Harold's Racing with Valenti Rosso entry. That's the second of the AMG GT3's Hackett having the big slide coming through turn 2. These two continue at it. It's a good little battle. Fraser doing a nice job holding on. They welcome G-Technic to this car this weekend, along with ongoing support from Shannons, who have been such an incredible supporter of Australian motor racing. Liam Talbot to jump into that car when the pit stop window opens, which it has done now. They've now got 10 minutes to dive in. There is Liam.
In the background, in the foreground, was Gary Higgin, who were talking yesterday, I think won KFC Franchisee of the Year when they had their big conference here on the Gold Coast in the past week.
What do you reckon they have for lunch down there, boys?
Let's see if Garth comes in here. It did look like, as he went down the back straight toward turn 3, that he was perhaps taking off the hose for the helmet fan and gearing up to come in. Does he do that? Yes, he does. So the bend backed Audi into the lane.
Ooh, looks like Dave closed that gap considerably on the way in. And this will be tricky as well, won't it? I mean, both Audis parked right next door to each other, including SVG.
And 888 as well. So they're the first pit box in the run. So they've got to clear in and out. A little bit busier where Audi Custom Sport Racing are. So this car has the shortest pit stop time of this leading group. So all going well, it should be Tony Bates leading them out. Tander and Shahin should be next, and the longest time of them will be the 888 Race Engineering entry, having won yesterday. They get 15 seconds extra time added to their list.
This would feel a lifetime waiting for you to get that call to get out, wouldn't it?
So there's Shahin, so he's back to second place.
Look at this here.
It's just for track position. So that's Liam Talbot now behind the wheel of the G-Technic car, and they've jumped 888. So that long pit stop time for Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, who's now behind the wheel of this car, he's got the job to do. So that'll be a net P4 when this all shuffles out. It was a big drive from Ibrahim yesterday after that challenging opening lap, but he pulled it together really well and got a heap of time back.
Really good job to do that. And this has been another challenge for him now. So character building, because he's got to get his eye in as soon as he can and put those laps together.
Check this out. The Ben Motorsport Park car led early, now second. And that was the moment that Michael Caruso was going oh about. Almost all the wheels off the road. Wow. It shows how hard they're pressing. That's the outlap. Oh, that was a very similar incident to Michael Rosser, at turn 3 a couple of laps ago. Rosser just in behind, watched that unfold.
Just looks like he's lost the rear on the way in, maybe locked the rears a little bit. And it's an easy corner to do it again. It's another one where you can't just brake purely in a straight line. You have to load it up by having a bit of lock on to turn left. But the Audis have been tail happy, haven't they, all weekend?
We've got a motor race on here because Yasser Shahin is hauling in Tony Bates. 1:11.9 for that car last time by, 1:10.3 for that one. And even quicker is Liam Talbot in third. He is flying, 1:10.1. He's the quickest car on the racetrack right now. Well, this is the battle for the lead. Yasser Shahin down the inside of Tony Bates, who gets squeezed down to the apex, but the Ben Motorsport Park car has reeled in the race leader. The last 2 laps especially. Last time round, he was a 1.5 seconds faster, and that margin has disappeared, and now it's in reverse because car number 1 is back in front of the motor race. And Liam Talbot is flying. This guy, quickest driver on the racetrack. Liam Talbot's just done a 1:09.5. He's going as quickly in this as the pro drivers were in the leading cars before the pit stop. So the G-Technic car is flying, and he's not only catching Yasser Shahin, he's catching Tony Bates very quickly. Talbot all over Tony Bates, who is such an experienced racer in his own right.
It's going to get him here. This is setting up potentially down at 3. Has a look. Window of opportunity presents, and he's there. Liam Talbot up.
Oh, no! Oh, he kept it on the racetrack just that little bit of extra concrete that's been laid on the exit there at turn 3. Saved Talbot. He committed hard, but it hasn't paid off, and now he's got to do all that work again. It must be so tempting to do that down there, Caruso, when it's such a tempting braking zone. You're going in at warp factor 9, and it must be so tempting. Oh, I can go a little bit deeper, surely.
Absolutely, and credit to both of them as well. Even Tony, I mean, to break that deep, you know, he obviously forced him to make the move rather than, you know, just back out of it and roll over and let him go.
Liam goes ultra deep again. Can he pull that car up? Goes wide again. Goes wide again. Look at Fraser. He's gone from smiling to...
Oh, he's off. More off this time. Gee, that was feisty.
What a battle.
This is great. It might be between two Audi R8s, but it is fiercely competitive.
9 seconds now to Yasser, sorry.
No, both cars run out of the same stable, Rusty. So, and now he goes around the outside of Tony Bates into turn 6. What about this time? For Liam Talbot on contact, and there's damage to the Bates car. One hit too many. Fraser Ross can't believe it.
And while all this is happening, look right there in your back of the screen.
A podium very much in the offing for Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim and Shane Van Gisbergen.
Look at the behaviour of the Bates car now. So that damage is affecting the performance of that car. Struggled to get it turned at 1. So here we go. Let's set this story up. So big, deep dive from Liam Talbot. They come out of 3, then this.
So that was the first bump on the exit of 3. And then it happened again. And there's the 888 with JMR car going down the inside of Tony Bates. So he's now off the podium.
It's wounded, that car, isn't it? Yep.
And it doesn't take much. There's lots of aero in these cars, and a little bit of aero, particularly on that left front, is, you know, really going to unbalance it, take away that front grip.
Great
but you've got to give it to him. I mean, he did not want to give that up at all.
The thing understeering on the exit of turn 5, just plowed straight ahead. And how aggressive is Talbot with the KFC Audi in front?
Oh, no.
And this is really difficult. It's costing him huge amounts of lap time. There's the flashing lights that Michael Caruso loves so much. He is right up close to the Audi now. This is for the final step on the podium.
Great job. Great job. Was looking for the over-under treatment, wasn't he? Remember me? I love it.
Cool battle between two of the great GT3 brands and two completely different styles of racing car that produce their speeds in different areas and behave differently, look and sound different, but ultimately lap within hundredths of a second of each other. And that moment with the traffic cost Liam Talbot 0.5 of a second. It's been very entertaining, but a really complete performance by the Ben Motorsport Park side of the Audi Sport Garage, anchored by Garth Tander at the start, and then Yasser Shahin did the job. He passed Tony Bates and built that margin. It's been a great race, a great weekend of GT racing back at Queensland Raceway for the first time in a decade. And the win today will go the way of Yasser Shahin and Garth Tander. Mercedes on top on Saturday, but today it's all about Audi. A complete performance today from the Ben Motorsport Park car. They won by just under 10 seconds with Liam Talbot and Fraser Ross second. Superb drive from Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim and Shane Van Gisbergen to get home in third. Bates and Reynolds, well, damage at the end. They carried that to the line and finished fourth, with Mark Rosser home in fifth and winning the AM class. A really solid day for Scott Taylor. Takes the trophy battle and finishes 8th outright.
Yes, an outstanding drive out the front there. Well done. Your thoughts on that victory?
Thanks, bud. Look, I thought it was going to be a lot harder, but he managed to give me the car in a great spot even after a safety car. And the first few laps, I think, were decisive. We just had to go out and drive the wheels off at the first 10 laps and get ourselves a buffer, and we did. So, great.
Yasser always does an awesome job and did it for us again. So, lost a bit of time through the pit stop cycle, obviously with the penalty from yesterday's race. But car was so good today, really, really good. So, managed to open up a bit of a gap and make it a little bit easier for Yasser, but he always brings it home. So, real credit to the team, and thanks to Yasser for sharing the car with me.
So another weekend of drama, controversy and ultimate speed as well. Congratulations to all of our winners. Fabs, can you see more and more big names wanting to be part of this category?
Absolutely. You know, they're great cars. They're worth a lot of money. Us race drivers would love to drive something like that, so definitely more in the future.
Well, that wraps up another round here at Queensland Raceway. We'll see you next time.